Welcome back into the show right here on the radio. 9 minutes now past the hour of 9 o'clock. Of course, we're real excited to have our next show up with Demetrius Maryball. Demetrius owns and operates Escape Your Body Float Center, a truly euphoric state. EscapeYourBody.net is the place to go to check it out. And, of course, you can give him a call at 744-2114. That's 744-2114. This is a very, very cool thing, and I want to welcome Demetrius to the program this morning. I've actually done a couple of these Demetrius so far, and every time I talk to somebody about the experience I had with the float center, people are like, "What float? What? What are you talking about?" You know, it's kind of, and so it is. It's a cool deal. But just along the way, if you have any questions, and feel free to call us at any time. 745-5800, 745-5800. But Demetrius, I posted this on Facebook after the first time I had a float session at your facility there at 2508 First Avenue, First Place here in Lubbock, just north of the stadium there off of University. Mm-hmm. But came by, very clean environment, very neat. I didn't know exactly what to expect.
Sure.
We sat down, you and I did, and you said, okay, here's the deal. Have you ever heard of these before? And you gave me the whole overview. And I thought, no, and that's why I wanted to do it and try it out. But anyway, long story short, I posted this on Facebook, and I was impressed about on my Facebook account where about half of the people said, yeah, I've done that, I love it. And other people are like, wow, what's it all about? So that's why you're here today, and we're going to get into that and talk about that today on the show. But before we get too far along into actual ins and outs of floating in the isopods, tell us a little bit about your background, Demetrius. I understand you, by trade, are a massage therapist or was a licensed massage therapist. You went out to Arizona. This is where you first saw these things and thought, man, this would be great to bring to the city of Lubbock. And so that's kind of how this concept got started, right?
Right. And the concept of the tanks have actually been around since the 60s. So, people hear about them here and there, but I can't remember exactly when I found out about them, but because I did do massage therapy, and I've taught some classes on meditation practice and whatnot. So I've always been interested in trying them out myself, but of course there was just nowhere around here that had them.
Right.
And I actually had to go a couple states away in Arizona to try them out.
That was the closest location
at the time. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
now, how long ago was that? 5 years ago? Or what?
That was about, I guess, 3 or 4 years ago now.
Okay, 3 or 4 years ago.
Actually, and there's a little link on the website that I wrote a blog, a little quick entry about my first experience on there. They can click on that and read a little bit more about it. But and I mentioned in there that I separate the trip into before we floated and after we'd floated, because I went out there, actually drug my parents along with me.
Yeah.
And, I love my parents and everything, but, after being in confined space with them for, all the way out to Arizona, we were kind of getting to one another. But after we did the experience in the float tanks, it was quite amazing. Everybody's attitude. It was really a wonderful experience. And,
sure.
We felt great afterwards. The trip on the way home was a lot better than on the way there. It was funny, but that after I first did it, and actually I had the idea a little bit before that, but the particular model of tank that I have came out right around the same time, and that's when I seriously started looking into opening up a place, because a lot of the older model tanks are very square, very boxy, and not quite as appealing as the ones that I have. The ones that I have are a lot bigger. They're a lot more aesthetically pleasing. They look cool. They
are cool. They look like something out of a Star Trek movie or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
it's really, really. But when I first heard about your float center, I mean, most people out there in Radioland right now listening to this, they think float. You mean like float down the Guadalupe River? I mean, float. What do you mean? What do you mean by float? In fact, Kim Davis, who just walked out of here from the last show, when I told her you were coming up, you weren't in the studio yet, and I said, well, I'm going to talk to Demetrius Maryball about the float center, and she goes, and that's exactly what her response was. Float what? Down in a pool? What? And so
Right.
it takes a kind of an educational process for people to kind of understand what it is,
Right.
and what it isn't. I mean, some people have also misconceptions about, what it is and it's not. But I have to say, and I was the same way until I actually went and did one, actually two now, and had that experience myself. And you get a wide range of mixed reactions. But for the most part, most people, after they've done these, including myself, they are very relaxing. It's almost like getting a massage, if you will, or just being able to unleash and relax yourself, and no stimuli, and just really, really just zone out. It's really a really cool, as you say, truly a euphoric, experience.
Right, and
it is.
We can say that because one of the things that happens in the tank is that you do get into such a relaxed state that you start your system starts producing endorphins, which is the body's own feel-good chemicals. So you do feel quite good afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me get into a little bit more of the details about what this is and how it works.
Sure.
As far as a little bit of the history, it does have a little bit of history involved. This whole idea was originated by a Harvard professor, actually, Dr. John Lilly, back in the 60s. And they were doing, he's a neurological doctor, and so he was doing research on stimulation and the brain and et cetera. But so he made up these first tanks and started using it and started realizing how beneficial they were. And then, one thing led to another, and they started, another friend of his, a colleague, started making the tanks and everything. But the way the tanks work, and I appreciate being able to talk a little bit more about it, because it does take a little bit, it takes a few minutes to really kind of understand what we're doing at the center. But the tank is about 8 feet long, it's about 5 feet wide, and about 5 feet tall. So they're quite large, and a lot of people, have a little bit, some people can get a little bit shaky about the idea about being inside, something where the lid closes and everything. But most everybody is surprised when they walk into the room to see how large the tanks are. So there's about 250 gallons of water in the tank, which is about a foot of water in the tank. So, and the part of it that makes you float is we dissolve 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt into the water. So it's a highly concentrated solution, and with that much salt in it, it makes the water dense enough to where the water basically cushions you and pushes you up out of the water. So you're basically laying on a bed of water inside the tank. So it's extremely comfortable in that way. There's no pressure points involved. It's even more comfortable than a bed. Even when you're laying on a bed, there's pressure on the body. So this alleviates a lot of the gravity pressure that's on the body. So all the connective tissues, all the muscles, on the joints, all that gets to completely relax and let go. So it's extremely beneficial for anybody that's having any type of back pain or muscle soreness and everything. And of course, what adds to that is that the Epsom salt, I'm sure probably everybody's heard of Epsom salt before. People have been using it for generations, in their bathtub and whatnot to help with sore muscles and stuff. But there's 1,000 pounds of it in the tank. So it just magnifies those benefits. And another thing that most people don't know about Epsom salt is it's not actually a salt. It's magnesium sulfate. So you don't come out of the tank feeling all wrinkly afterwards like a prune. It's actually quite good for your skin. Your skin feels a little bit softer when you get out. And you do absorb actually some of the magnesium through your skin as well, which is another plus. A lot of people are magnesium deficient these days.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's turning out magnesium is quite important for a lot of functions in the body. But let's see, the other thing about when you get into the tank, you lay back into it, you're floating on the surface of the water. The other thing that we do in the tank is that the water is raised up to skin temperature, which is about 94 degrees. So it's a very comfortable situation to be in. And the 94 degrees, basically, you lose once you get acclimated after the first few minutes, because the water temperature is the same as the skin. You start losing kinesthetic sensation. So you start losing sensation, the body sense, and so that reinforces the feeling of weightlessness inside the tank as well. And then the other factor is that once you get inside, you have the option of turning the light off and having the music fade out after about 10 minutes. So you're in an environment where there's no light, there's no sound, there's no gravity on your body, and because of the water temperature, you lose sense of touch or kinesthetic sensation as well. So you take all those things together, and they work synergistically to, well, there's been studies that say that an hour inside the tank is about the equivalent of about 4 to 6 hours of sleep. So you could think of it as a little shutdown, like reboot your system. You're inside the tank, and one of the ideas behind the tank is allowing the nervous system to really shut down and not have to work so hard processing sensory information. So the nervous system gets to shut down, so you start getting into extremely relaxed, states of relaxation inside the tank. Deep meditative states, which is another cool aspect of the tank. But, to get a little bit technical, there are, 4 different, they've classified brainwave states they're called alpha, beta, theta, and delta. And the longer, slower ones, theta and delta, I believe, are the ones that you get into when you get into deep dreamless sleep. And those are the ones you start dipping into after about 20 minutes of being inside the tank. So, like I said, it's just really amazing, the amount of benefits. I mean, I could, luckily, we're here a little bit longer, so I can get into some of the more details of that, because most people, like I said, it's, once if you get on the internet, and of course I invite people to go to the website, and there's a little bit more information in there if you have a little bit more time to get into the details. There's also videos and a link to the Facebook page and whatnot. But there's really nothing quite like it, and of course it's very unique for this area as well. And there are more starting to pop up here and there. There's one in Dallas now. I believe there's going to be one popping up in Austin. So, when I first started looking into it, actually,
there was none in Texas.
Yeah, and
Wow.
Austin was the first place I looked to see if they had one here, but they didn't. Interestingly enough.
Sure,
But,
sure. Well, it was, and I appreciate all that, and what you just said there is what you do on the first float. I mean, people come in, they come to the float center. Again, we do recommend they go to the website and read about it, learn up, read about it, and escapeyourbody.net, the place to go.
Right.
And escapeyourbody, all one word, .net to check that out. But when you and I first started talking about doing some radio programs, at first I was kind of like, well, you come on the show, you talk about it, and you were like, no, Wilkes, you got to come try it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go try it. So, I was like, yeah, I guess I should, because if I'm going to be talking about it on the radio, I need to talk at it from a person who was kind of not skeptical, but just like, well, maybe I should see what this is all about before I just get on the radio, because I interview all kinds of people with all kinds of things over the years, from homeopathic remedies to grow hair on a cue ball. I mean, all this stuff. I've been doing that almost 20 years now. And but I thought, yeah, I'll go check it out, Demetrius. So I went in the first time. We sat down. You explained everything just like you did with me just now. And then I got ready to do my float. And I go in, I look at the pod, and I'm thinking, wow, and I shower off before you get in there. And real nice bathroom, real nice area. And, I get in there and put my earplugs in and get ready and I'm laying in there and I turn off the light and there's some slow Zen-like music is what I call it. I don't know. It's, there's something playing and then that goes for like 10 minutes and it shuts off. And the first 20 minutes, and everybody's experience is so different. I mean, mine, then someone else could come in an hour or two later, have a radically different experience than what I had. But my experience was, first 20 minutes, I was laying in the pod going, okay, it feels kind of good. It's kind of weird, I'm like, I can't really process it. I'm trying to overthink it. And then, because it's an hour long. And then after about 20, 25 minutes, next thing I know, it is amazing. It's an amazing experience. I'm just laying in this thing, and I'm very comfortable, very, I don't get claustrophobic. That's another thing. At first, I thought, well, that's going to be interesting to see me in this deal. But after the first time I came out of there, it just was really, I had a lot of things on my mind. I had a lot of things I was thinking about. And you begin to think about those things and process those things. And that's where I was. My mind was still very active. And so I processed some things and came up with some really good ideas about this and that and whatnot. And so I found it very stimulating in a sense. And when I actually, you say relaxing, but when I came out, I was stimulated, I guess for lack of a better word, but stimulated in a good way, in the sense of I feel refreshed, rejuvenated, and I feel kind of cool. And that was, because you always ask, I guess everybody that comes through, the clients of yours, well, how was it? And you talk to them and
right.
That kind of thing, which is really neat. And as I was explaining this to you, and you're like, sometimes it does that to people, and other people, they have actually fallen asleep in there. I didn't fall asleep in either one, and then the next one I did, totally aware of what's going to happen. I did get into more of a deep, kind of more of a relaxation phase on the second float I did, as opposed to the first one. But still coming out of the pod, get out, shower, clean up, put my clothes back on, come out. I was very, very relaxed at that point. And that night, and I had the guys on yesterday from Dr. Gray's office, and I did a sleep study. Had a, moderate sleeping problem. I did a little study at home and all this. Long story short, after each float I did, I had like one of the best nights of sleep I've had in forever. I mean, I wish I could do that every day, because
right,
I'd sleep great. I mean, what's up with that? Why is it sleeping?
Well, let's see. Where can I start?
Well, I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff. I mean, I was just explaining my two floats, but I mean,
right.
it really was unique. I'll just put it that way. It's hard to describe, really.
Exactly. That's my challenge, being able to talk to people about this, because there's a million things going on in my mind in response to what you're saying, because everybody's different. So everybody's going to experience it a little bit differently. But, okay, like I said, where can I start? So what you're talking about as far as feeling refreshed afterwards.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an extremely concentrated power nap in one sense. Okay, so you do come out feeling extremely centered, very calm, very balanced, but you also feel refreshed. And a lot of people like it better than a massage for that reason. Sometimes when you get a good deep tissue massage, you come out feeling a little bit groggy. But this doesn't happen with the tank. So it's very rejuvenative experience. But, like I said, everybody's a little bit different. Most everybody that goes in there, I'd say, 95% everybody really likes it. A few people, it's got to take a couple times, for you to fully appreciate it, because it's a very unique environment to be inside. And I guess I'll just throw this out here, but that's one of the reasons why I do a first time special. If it's your first time in, you actually get a second session for free. I do encourage people to try it at least 3 times, to fully appreciate the experience, because there is a little bit of a learning curve to it. I mean, the first time, like I said, it takes a little bit getting used to, and if somebody's a little bit more skeptical, they're like, what's going on in here? I don't understand, but part of the experience of the flotation tank is learning how to let go, because we're such a very go society, and we're being stimulated all the time in one form or another. We've got our smartphones, we've got the internet, we've got television, we've got everything that's bombarding us a lot, and a lot of people don't take the time to remove themselves or put themselves in a space where they don't have any distractions. It's just them and a little bit of silence. And what most people don't realize is that it can be very very, very healing experience to take yourself out of such a stimulated environment and allow your system to really focus on,
as you put it, reboot.
Exactly.
Your system to reboot. I guess that's what I did. I guess that's what I did, and that's the amazing part about it, really. I like that term, though, reboot. You reboot your system.
Exactly.
Feel rejuvenated, refreshed, right?
So, it's like the computer analogy. If your computer's, acting up a little bit, it's having, some issues with it, what do? You shut it down?
I pull the plug out of it, man, on the tower. I mean, I unplug it and let it sit for 20 seconds and then put it back in, and it comes up and says, press start. Enter manually. But that's what you're doing to your body, I guess, to your brain.
Exactly.
And that's kind of neat. That's kind of neat.
It is a very it's a very unique experience, and there's a long list of physical benefits. Like I was saying, muscles, joints. We have people that with fibromyalgia that come in. They get relief from their ailments associated with that. Arthritis. People that come in with headaches, they feel better afterwards, get rid of that headache. It's really good for recovering if you're an athlete, if you have some injuries, or if you're working out on a regular basis. This speeds up the recovery time in between workouts. But there's also some really, really cool psychological benefits involved with this. You can have really interesting introspective experiences inside the tank as well. This starts where it starts getting into, some really interesting experience, but, we've had people that come out of the tank and, they'll tell me that they've gotten, clarity on some issues that were weighing down, on their mind, whether that's, relationship issues or stress that they're dealing with work, whatever it is. They come out and they feel lighter. They feel, all this pressure is just off of there. And, what I think is that, your body is always constantly looking to regain some kind of balance and maintain a homeostasis for your health.
Right.
I think the psychology works a lot of the same in similar ways. So you just have to get yourself or put yourself in a situation where that process can work, and the tank does that. So you put yourself in that environment where there's no distractions. You're extremely relaxed. Your body goes into a healing mode. It's not having to worry about gravity or any of those sensory stimulus that's going on. So you get into a situation where you're almost like a dream time. So you start working on these things that are bothering you in your life, and amazingly enough, like I said, you just give yourself a little bit of an opportunity, your system an opportunity to work those things out, and it does. So I hear often a person will come out, I've had actually people that have emotional releases inside the tank or when they come out of the tank as well, and they're very thankful, and that's a really cool part of what I do is seeing the change in people from when they come in and then the way that they look afterwards. I can see it almost on everybody when they come out. They look a little bit younger. They look a little bit more shiny. They have a little bit more sparkle in their eyes. So that's very rewarding about what I do. So, and this day and age, again, there's all kinds of things going on out there that we can get stressed over right now. And
sure.
A lot of people, because they don't take that time to step out of that situation, they get used to it. So they're stressing their systems out on a day-to-day basis, but they're used to it, so they don't realize what they're doing. So most of the time, they come in, and it takes a little bit of time, like you said, about 20 minutes for their brain to just really just kind of shut down. But once that happens, they come out and they're like, wow, I can't, feel so good. I didn't realize how much stress I was under.
Yes.
So
it is truly a euphoric state. I mean, it like you said on the brochure here, it's very true. At first I thought, but it really is what you're saying. It really is that. And you got to try it to believe it. Now, right now, you are offering that special where you come by, you do a 1 hour, you get a 1 hour free, right?
Right.
So you got that. So you get 2 floats for the price of one. Basically.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's your first time in, you actually get a second session for free. Now you have to use the second session yourself, and you have 30 days to use the second one.
Yeah.
Okay. But because like I was saying earlier, I do encourage a person to try it at least 3 times. So we give you the second one for free.
Sure.
The other cool thing about the tanks is because they've been around for so long, the people that are a little bit more detail oriented, they want to get into the research about everything. They've actually been studied by a couple different universities, so there's some studies out there about the benefits, and the different ways that it can benefit you. There's more information about that on my website, but if there's a really good book, called The Book of Floating by a guy named Michael Hutchison. And he was a journalist, I believe it was back in the 80s, and he was sent out by a publication, I think it was a New York publication, that to basically debunk the float tanks, but he tried it a couple of times, and he had such a phenomenal experience, he ended up writing a whole book about it. So that book really goes into all the different theories about why it works so well, and references a lot of those university studies as well.
Cool.
Actually, one of the things that's on the top of my head, it reminded me about that, but one of the studies they were doing with the tanks, I believe it was for sleep, but one of the other things that they weren't looking for that they found out, though, was that a lot of people had an easier time stopping smoking. So it actually can promote, the
cessation.
Yeah, the cessation of habitual activities such as smoking. And most of the time, anything like smoking or drinking or anything like that is a response to stress. People are stressed out, so they'll go up to the bar after work, or they smoke a cigarette or whatever, and it helps their stress response. But this is something a little bit more healthy for you.
Yes, it's very healthy, and like you said, maybe I'll keep trying it, and maybe it'll wean me off smokeless tobacco. Just thoughts. You never know. I didn't think about that while I was in the tank, but nevertheless, because again, my experience was it actually, for lack of a better word, jazzed me up. It made me it refreshed me. Mm-hmm. I didn't come out all groggy and sleepy or nothing like that. I mean, that was not me. And I don't think most people do, actually. I think they come out with more, kind of a more pep in their step kind of thing, as opposed, because I don't want to make I don't know, you tell me, but I definitely was not coming out of there going, man, I just wanted to look for a bed and go back to sleep. No, I wasn't like that at all. My experience was.
Right. It kind of depends. The cool thing is that each time you go in, the experience is going to be a little bit different. That depends on your energy levels going into the tank, mm-hmm. and what kind of stress you're under and whatnot. But some people get a really good energy boost after they come out of the tank. Some people feel very, very calm, very languid, very relaxed. So they, I usually tell people, not to have too many pressing things after they come in. That way, if they get into this really good, kind of a blissful state, they can just kind of enjoy that for a little while. Mm-hmm. But like you're saying, that kind of, you get really, really good sleep as well after a session, or that usually the next couple nights. So when you come out of the tank, sometimes either you feel energetic or you feel like just taking it easy, which again, probably more people should take advantage of that these days.
No doubt.
But each individual is going to be different, and each experience is going to be a little bit different. And just that depends a little bit on your disposition. The people that are go, I guess what you call more of a type A personality, they're going to have a little bit more of an adjustment period inside the tank to allow the tank to really take over and really get that benefit and that getting into that deep relaxation state. But there, some people in there are a little bit more, not as wound up, I guess you could say.
Yeah, right.
So they're pretty much, as soon as they hit the tank, they're out. They get into that shutdown mode. So you get into a very kind of in between state in the tank, very kind of half asleep, half awake, kind of a dreamy type of interesting space.
Well, definitely, it's very, very cool, and I can't recommend it enough. But again, the website to check this out, escapeyourbody.net. That's escapeyourbody.net. And the number to call, again, to talk to Demetrius, set up an appointment, come give it a test drive, as I like to say on things. Right. 744-2114, 744-2114. Again, 744-2114. But escapeyourbody.net. Also, you can like us on Facebook. We have a page on Facebook as well.
Right, exactly. You can see what other people have experienced, their comments on there, and there's a little bit more pictures and stuff you can of the facility and the tanks themselves on the Facebook page. And I also do, I also post articles and videos that are associated with what happens inside the tank as well.
Yeah. Hours of operation Tuesday to Saturday, 10 to 9, Sunday 12 to 7. But again, escapeyourbody.net. Check it out. Like us on Facebook. Again, 744-2114. Now, Demetrius, we're going to have you back in a couple of weeks here on the show, but we look forward to doing that. And, of course, I'll see you out there again. I'm going to come back here pretty quick and do another one. But anyway, it's really a cool deal. And so, but it takes time to explain this to people to kind of get them to think, wow, that's kind of interesting. But the website's very well done. You can check out some information there. Again, the Facebook page, as you said, there's postings on there, people and their experiences, but it's all good. Check it out. Again, we're located at 2508 First Place, just basically west of, just right off. You'll see it if you're driving down, up North University, across the Marcia Sharp Freeway. You go down about 2 or 3 blocks, you come to First Place. We're just right there, just about half a block down.
From Gandy's Dairy.
Yeah, right across the street from Gandy's Dairy. That's right. That's where we're located, right on the west side of it, across the university. So 744-2114, the number to call to make an appointment. Try it out. I think you'll be glad you did. But Demetrius, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Wade. And again, I invite people to come and try it out, do their research. I can understand some people being a little bit skeptical about the whole idea, but you'll try it out.
I think they'll like it. I do. I liked it. I think a lot of people out there need this. They do. And it's like everything else in the world. And it's not for everybody. I get that. There are some people that, but I think there is a lot of people out there that have not experienced that would benefit greatly by it. And so they ought to at least give it a shot. You know what I mean?
Right. There's just. It can benefit people in so many different ways. I really have a hard time trying to, list everything off. But, I would, like I said, you just got to try it. Talking about it is one thing, but actually
doing it, it doesn't do it justice just talking. You've got to go to try it out. That is absolutely true.
And hopefully we'll get into a little bit more details next time about how it can balance out the activity between the hemispheres of the brain.
Yeah.
Increase your imagination, increase your creativity.
Sure.
Like I said, but, hopefully I was a little bit nervous today. I'm trying not to ramble too much, but, for my first time on radio.
But there's so much information. And, so much information, and 30, 40 minutes goes by just like that.
Is it already 30 minutes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. Wow. In fact, we're over, but that's okay. We went over about 10 minutes.
You got to be kidding me.
That's about 40 minutes.
Wow.
But see, that's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's a lot of stuff to cover. And so we're going to have to do more of these. So, but anyway, Demetrius, thank you so much for being with us again. 744-2114, 744-2114, escapeyourbody.net. Check it out. Demetrius Maryball, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, man. Have a great day.
You too, Wade. Thanks a lot.